Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. And today we have our wonderful guest, Faith, a trauma-informed recovery coach specializing in post-narcissistic stress disorder. Her memoir, Rising from the Ashes, intertwines personal experience with valuable insight, offering hope and tools for survivors of narcissistic abuse. Faith, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I'm so excited to dive into today's topic.
Thank you so much for having me here and for providing me the platform to share my experience and my story and hopefully help some people.
So, can you explain what post-narcissistic stress disorder is and how it differs from other forms of PTSD?
PTSD is mainly like an acute trauma.
Mm-hmm.
It could be just like a one-time event, like witnessing a crash or a natural disaster or just something that happens like mainly one time that's very traumatic. And post-narcissistic is basically caused by that one person, just the abuse that you've been through for so long, the ongoing chronic trauma. The symptoms are very much alike, the hypervigilance, the
Yeah.
insomnia, the flashbacks, all the horribleness. But I think the main difference is that it was caused by one specific person and it was just chronic for as long as it lasted.
And I feel like sometimes with narcissistic abuse, you can go into like cognitive dissonance.
Mhm.
It's like your brain is telling you one thing and then another. It's just almost like Jekyll and Hyde, like game playing. So it's really kind of hard to separate yourself to really understand like what's even happening.
Oh, exactly. It happens so subtly that you just one day start to realize you have no self-esteem, like
Mm-hmm.
your self-worth is just completely eroded. You feel
Mm-hmm.
like you're going crazy, you're the one. Like betrayal blindness. A lot of times we don't want to accept or realize that somebody we care about so much could be so cruel. So
Yeah.
we do try to turn the other way and until we can't anymore.
Exactly. So, in your experience as a trauma-informed recovery coach, what are some common signs or red flags that someone, may be in a narcissistic relationship?
Well, first of all, I think our gut is always correct. So I think if something feels off, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is controlling and wants to know where you're going and doesn't want you to go out with certain people and becomes very possessive,
Mm-hmm.
if they're not like your cheerleader in life, like
Yeah.
they don't support your dreams and your goals and they're constantly putting you down and criticizing you and swearing at you and gaslighting you and just toxic. And it's our birth given right to be happy and peaceful and be loved unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And that will never happen with a toxic person.
Yeah. And it's so true. You have to listen to your gut. Your gut is your second brain. I know, like, in my own experience, I kind of like shut it off. Like, okay, like, this is what it is in my relationship. I can handle it. But then
Mhm.
it showed up in another form, which was in my gut. And I had been reading a lot of blogs that narcissistic abuse can cause GI problems. And
Mhm.
it's so true. Listen to your gut. And it was like my gut was telling me, hey, you got to remove yourself from the situation. And it's just amazing how much of a year has made such a difference. Me being, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease in December of 22. We're now in 2024, and I've like completely almost healed myself naturally without any Western medicine. And that's doing a lot of life changing and a lot of like reflection on the inside.
Yeah.
And in your memoir, Rising from the Ashes, you share your own personal story of surviving narcissistic abuse. What advice or tools do you offer in the book that can, give hope to others going through like the similar experiences?
I think talking about it is
Hmm.
a huge game changer. I think listening to other survivors' stories so that we know that it's not us, that we're not alone, that we are supported. I think knowledge is power. So
Yeah.
I did so much research on narcissistic personality disorder. Like I swear I feel like I got my PhD. So definitely like educating ourselves, therapy. I
Hmm.
mean, it's brutal, the aftermath, and I think it's very helpful to talk to somebody about it, like a professional,
Yes.
there's a bunch of support groups for narcissistic abuse survivors and podcasts, and it's just, it's nuts.
No, and I really do think it's important, like having that community and someone like you to like talk them through it, because what we had mentioned earlier, like the cognitive dissonance is real, and then you have a fear of wanting to leave, but then you want to stay. And it's like, hard to kind of differentiate like really what you're feeling inside. And having someone there can really help you. I know it really helped me during that time. I don't think I probably would have had the courage to be where I'm at today if I didn't have some help, because I was at a low point, feeling worthless, but I can't leave and I want to stay. I love them. But then it's like, it also doesn't make me feel the best. So I think
Yeah.
it's really important and to educate yourself. Hey there, amazing listeners. Are you feeling stuck or in pain after divorce? Longing for a more purposeful life? Well, Donna McCoff's empowering courses are your ticket to breaking free from the past and creating a life you love. The time to transform is now. First course is Rise Up After Divorce, Recovery, Reconnect, Reinvent. It takes you from where you are stuck to your personal transformation. Along with transforming your life, you get $75 off on this full process course, a limited time offer. It includes all courses into one holistic approach. And for those who are seeking a more tailored approach and a smaller investment, Donna has broken down the courses into separate modules, creating a total of 5 courses. Course 1, The Road Through Recovery. Uncover where you're stuck and create a personalized plan for moving forward. Course 2 is Reconnecting with Self. In this course, you will learn how to create harmony and balance among the 4 pillars of the well-being so that you create healthy habits, boundaries, and a relationship going forward. And discover where you are now and design a personal life timeline for a bird's eye view of your past. Course 3 is Reinventing Self. Reconnect with your strengths and passions and finding your sweet spot for the joy and happiness in life. Course 4 is Relaunching Yourself. Be the creator of your future by strategically improving key areas of your life. Don't miss out on her valuable freebie, an insight ebook to kickstart your transformative journey. Download your free ebook now. The link is in the description. Start now and get a discount of $75 off on the first full process course. Be ready for positive change. Check out the description, take the advantage, enroll today, and seize the opportunity to break up with the past and start with a fresh chapter together. And when we talk about educating, why is it not only important for victims to educate themselves, but for, law enforcement, the judicial system, mental health professionals, and basically society in general to kind of know these signs of that type of personality disorder?
Because these people are so manipulative and they are just such charmers, and they can make it seem like there's nothing wrong with them. It's the other person that's crazy. And I really think that especially emergency responders need to be aware and understand that abuse isn't just physical,
Mhm.
right? So coercive control is the mental and psychological, and those are scars that we can't see. So I think that way too many women have been murdered by people like this. A lot of women who have actually tried to reach out and go to the police officers, and they did nothing.
Yeah,
And especially lawyers and judges, because at the end of the day, if there's kids involved, the kids are the ones that are going to suffer.
exactly.
So I think trainings need to go on. I think they should teach this course like starting in high school. I feel like it should be mandatory course in college. And like we put up flyers about it. We put up posters. Like I think just anything to help spread the word. And June 1st is actually National Narcissistic Abuse Day,
Oh,
which is just amazing because I really feel the more we get the word out there, the more people can recognize these guys and just run in the opposite direction.
yeah, yeah, they are charmers. And then once they sink their teeth in you, it's kind of hard, and sometimes it takes years to finally figure it out. And in your
Mhm.
advocacy work, what steps do you believe, can be taken to prevent the narcissistic abuse and like support survivors on their path to recovery? I know you mentioned like teaching it in school and stuff like that, but is there anything else that you'd like to add on? And the message that you really would love for the audience to know about this?
I think it's very important to feel validated,
Mm-hmm.
just have somebody there to bear witness to our experience. Again, talking about it, I can't stress that enough because I had no idea, and I'm a social worker. I had no clue what was going on. And as soon as somebody said the word narcissist, and it drives me nuts how people just throw that term around, so
Yeah.
loosely
Mm-hmm.
without really understanding what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So watching podcasts and reading about it, and there's so many blogs, I think that is all extremely, extremely helpful.
Yeah. And like we had mentioned earlier, listening to the signs of your own body. You know what I mean? If
Mhm.
something doesn't feel right, like listen to it. And I feel like sometimes we have a hard time listening to ourselves and trusting ourselves and in our gut, because most often we're distracted by other things and we're not taking a second to reflect on ourselves. So I also think it's important to really trust and understand and be like, okay, well, why am I feeling this way? Like, I shouldn't always have to be walking on eggshells in my life, and knowing what you deserve and that you're worth more than what you're being received. And I think that, it's also self-confidence and self-love within yourself, because sometimes when we don't have self-love, we feel like we deserve this type of behavior and abuse towards ourselves.
Absolutely. That's definitely the takeaway. I came to realize that I had no self-worth. I had zero self-love, and you start to believe the toxic thoughts that you're fed, so
Mhm.
they're reiterating, yes, you're worthless. You're never going to find anybody. But to your point, it's funny, the gut is known as like the second brain. So yeah, it would stand to reason that you start to feel it. And they say when somebody shows you who they are, like believe them the first time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, Faith, it is time for the Power Mom Chronicles, and I cannot wait to know what your answers are. So, my first one to you is, what is a game-changing lesson life has taught you?
To put up boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
to love myself and not take anything that's unacceptable to me anymore. If I don't feel loved or respected, then I'm out the door. And that took me a really long time to
Mm-hmm.
realize that I am worthy of love, and just practice self-compassion and gratitude. Just be grateful for every single thing in life.
Mm-hmm. And, one thing to add that I wanted to say is boundaries do hurt people's feelings. And we have to be okay with that because we're really loving ourselves. And it's not even like we're hurting their feelings. It's just we're not being able to meet that expectation of someone. And that person can't expect these you know what I mean? Can't expect their expectations to be met every time. So it is important to know that sometimes when you start your boundary journey, it's gonna hurt people's feelings and you have to be like, have a strong backbone with that.
Especially if these people are used to like plowing through your boundaries. It
Mm-hmm.
uh, irritate them, and you know what? That's okay. We just need to learn to say ouch and stop, and
Mm-hmm.
we do that with boundaries. So yeah, it'll piss a lot of people off, but it like you said, it's self-love. Like we need to do that for ourselves.
Perfect. And my second question is, reflecting on your journey, what practical lessons or insights can our listeners apply to improve their own lives?
Just don't stand for disrespect. Don't stay with somebody who doesn't treat you the way you're supposed to. If you're scared of somebody, love doesn't hurt. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of the times women stay for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to get out for the kids because the kids are there observing and absorbing everything. And what they learn as little kids is how they grow up to view the world. And especially their brains are just so malleable
Yeah.
from 0 to 8. So they've been through the battle too. And we just need to find the strength to really get out for our children.
Yeah, no, and that was, a big battle with me too, it's like with the kids and stuff, but ultimately a happy home is the best home, even if that means that the parents are separated. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
So my third question is, offer a piece of wisdom for moms or anyone striving to find their strength and voice in the world.
Just have faith. Don't stop ever believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and know that we are stronger than we think we are. And that once we start to feel safe again, we're able to heal, and we cannot run from those emotions. Like, we really need to sit and hold space and honor every emotion that comes up, because they serve a purpose, and we aren't able to heal from them if we sort of try to push them down and push them away. So part of the healing journey is just to really sit with ourselves and be with ourselves.
Yeah. And my last question to you is the best advice you've ever received.
Um, I have two. One is not to romanticize other people's lives. And the other one is what Janis Joplin said, never compromise yourself. You all you got. So
I
those
love
two
both
pieces,
of those.
they really, really resonate with me.
Yeah, I love those. Well, Faith, thank you so much for coming on this week's episode of Not Your Mama's podcast. All of her links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.